When your house is a mess and you're feeling the stress, what you need is a friend in your ear. Start the job and you'll see it through with Ronnie talking to you. Make the chaos disappear. Clean with Me podcast is here.
In today's episode, I'm going to guide you through the closing shift of your home. In case you're new to the show, Clean With Me is the podcast where I walk you through cleaning your house step by step. And today, as I guide you through washing your dishes and spot cleaning your kitchen before bed, I'll also be revealing some of my favorite things to do the night before if you have work the next day or kids to get ready for school. Let's get right into the episode. One of the most important tasks to complete at the end of the day, whether it's right after dinner or just before you go to bed, is washing your dishes. Getting down to dish zero right now is one of the keys to an easy morning and day tomorrow. I know you're tired, but I'm here to talk you through this task, okay? The first step is going to be gathering dishes from around the house. Maybe there are cups or mugs on your nightstands, or maybe someone forgot to clear their bowl and spoon or plate and fork from the dining room or kitchen table. If you have teenagers who are allowed to eat in their bedrooms, be sure to check there too. While you're gathering the dishes and bringing them to the sink, I'd like to remind you that your short morning and evening routines are what keep your house under control, and those routines make it easier to complete your deep cleaning tasks, whether you do those deep cleaning sessions one room at a time during the afternoons. Okay, usually if you're a full-time homemaker, there might be an afternoon session, maybe during the kids' nap or something. Or you might do your cleaning all at once if you work outside the home and do most of your cleaning on your day off, or even if you work at home for that matter. Either way, your daily routines are crucial to keeping your home tidy and sanitary between deeper cleaning sessions. Now that you've gathered everything up, it's time to get any difficult items pre-rinsed and soaking. I'm talking about pots and pans or anything else with dried on food. It might be a mug with a ring in the bottom of it. You might want to also check your refrigerator for any old leftovers so you can clean out those containers and get them soaking. But if you're in a hurry, you can of course skip that step. After you're done pre-rinsing your quote-unquote difficult items, you could either fill these items with hot water and dish detergent and submerge them in the sink, under the dishwasher, or just set them on the countertop full of dishwater. Or alternatively, you could pre-rinse them and then spray them with a product like Dawn Power Wash or maybe a generic equivalent. When I say soaking, I'm including all of these possible methods. Okay, if you hate scrubbing, which is probably true of most people, giving your dish soap time to work on those difficult items while you wash the cleaner stuff first will minimize the scrubbing you have to do. It's all about the order of operations when doing dishes efficiently. Okay, now if this were a morning or afternoon episode or one of my whole house sessions, they're typically bonus episodes, I'd have you clear all clutter from your countertops before continuing with washing your easy dishes, just to kind of give you that quick win of eliminating visual clutter. But the evening session is often the hardest because you've got the dinner mess to clean up and you're probably tired after a long day. So I'm keeping this session real minimal. If you struggle with consistently working these closing shifts in your home, it means you need to simplify it. Okay? Now that those difficult items are soaking, it's time to unload the dishwasher or drying rack so you'll have a place to put things. However, going forward, I do recommend completing that step each morning to make your other routines easier. I like to separate putting the clean dishes away from washing the dishes, which makes for a shorter dishwashing session. But no judgment here, of course, if you need to do it right now. Just start loading your dishwasher or hand washing your dishes once you have a place to put them. Hopefully you've started washing your easy items while you're loading the dishwasher, or hand washing that first sink load if you're hand washing everything. But typically you'll start with cups, glasses, silverware, plates, and bowls. I like to, rinse them under running water with a scrub brush on a handle, or sometimes I just grab a scrub daddy or scrub mommy. If you're like me,
from athletic stuff like a full court pickup game, swish, to athletic-ish stuff like a half-mile stroll. Get those steps in. Head to Sierra or Sierra.com for the brands you want at the prices that let you do it all. From athletic to athletic-ish, Sierra's got it.
You also position some large knives and cooking spoons in the top rack of your dishwasher. Don't submerge those in the dishwater, though. Somebody could reach in and grab a sharp knife. Side note about loading the dishwasher. Don't you hate it when someone loads the dishwasher and they do it wrong? With a lot of dishwashers, you've got to be strategic in how you put things so that nothing stops the moving parts from moving. So if you're a teenager and you're listening, check the bottom first and make sure nothing's going to fall down and stop that spinner. Okay? My kids are already trained in this, even though my husband and I do most of the dishwashing ourselves lately. But whatever doesn't fit in the dishwasher, we typically hand wash. But the system's different for everyone. It can even vary from day to day or meal to meal. Sometimes you want to hand wash because it's just a few things and you don't feel like unloading the dishwasher. Or you might not have a working dishwasher, or you just prefer not to use one. Now, the closing shift is not supposed to take long, but if it does, it might mean you need to work on cleaning as you go while cooking. This is so crucial. Don't beat yourself up if you have kind of a disaster after dinner, but you can do so much during those waiting periods in your kitchen. Instead of leaving the kitchen while something's in the oven, you can wash your cutting board, your knives, your mixing bowls, whatever you've dirtied that you can wash at that step, you would wash. So maybe try to get in the habit of staying in your kitchen if you're creating a huge mess while cooking. I mean, staying in your kitchen during the cooking process, like while you're waiting for water to boil or while something's in the oven. Okay? For now, either keep plugging away on those dishes, including the difficult items you have soaking, or if you're ahead of the game, start spraying and wiping down your kitchen surfaces that need it. I'm talking about your food prep area and your stovetop and your kitchen table and high chair if you have messy little ones. Okay, we don't eat at the table every night, so we don't always have to wipe down the table. The closing shift is one time where I don't mind cleaning around a few things on the countertops. I might put some seasonings in the spice cabinet, but if there's papers and other random items, tools, whatever, stacked on the kitchen island, I might just kind of move them aside and clean the food prep area. Now, I usually use a Myers or multi-purpose spray on the countertops, but you can also just clean them with liquid dish soap and a damp rag or maybe a Scrub Mommy sponge. Okay? By the way, you might also need to spot sweep your kitchen floor, maybe in the food prep area or under and around the table. For me, the food prep area is the island, but for you, if you don't have an island, it could be just a section of countertop. Remember, this is not a deep cleaning session. We're just getting your kitchen sanitary before bed. But if you do too much, tomorrow you might be tempted to skip the next closing shift because you see it as a time-consuming task. Or maybe you'll wake up just kind of burn out on cleaning and skip your morning or afternoon session. And I realize that this kind of phenomenon might not apply to you. Okay. But for those of us, you might be a night owl, but for those of us who do kind of dislike doing housework at night, we want to keep the closing shift simple and short, something sustainable that we can do on a nightly basis. Okay, like I mentioned before, some of you might have a high chair to clean, or maybe you have a formal dining room that's in another room and you need to wipe down that table. But definitely prioritize getting down to dish zero and sanitizing your kitchen and dining room surfaces. Even if you don't make it out of the kitchen during this episode, I've done my job, okay? But if you've already completed those steps, you might have time to straighten somewhere in your home. This could be your front entrance and main living area. Or if those areas are already tidy, you could straighten up a messy bedroom or pick up the towels and clothing on your master bathroom floor. Just reset whichever area of your home needs it. And if you don't have any crucial tidying to do, you could always start getting things ready for tomorrow morning. Remember, I promised I'd talk about that? For those of you who work outside the home tomorrow or have to take kids to school in the morning or maybe go to church in the morning, a stress-free morning begins the night before. Consider laying out your clothes and the kids' clothes if you have little ones. For my teenagers, I just say, make sure you do your laundry and plan your outfits. Anyway, laying out clothes is particularly helpful if you're behind on laundry and you're not necessarily going to find everything you need in your dresser drawers and closet. You don't want to be scrambling to wash something at the last minute and, going to work in damp clothing or digging through the clean laundry to find socks for your little ones. But if you keep listening to this show, you'll soon have organized drawers and closets full of clean clothes because I plan to do an episode about that soon. I want to talk about organizing and decluttering your wardrobe, organizing your closet, organizing your drawers, and just generally getting caught up on laundry. So be sure to click follow, subscribe, or the plus sign on whichever app you're listening on, and also subscribe to the bonus content, okay? Speaking of bonus content, special thanks to my financial supporters who have unlocked those subscriber-only bonus episodes. You too can unlock those episodes, which are typically longer, for a small monthly fee. And if you're listening to Clean With Me on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, the paid subscription option is probably already being advertised to you. And subscribing on one of those two platforms will give you a seamless listening experience. However, another option is joining my Patreon page, which gives you an option to support the show at different levels. Some people like to support at a higher level on there to help me out and unlock a little bit of extra content. Some people who are already subscribing on Apple or Spotify like to join Patreon just to help me out on top of that. Wow. That's all I can say is wow. For those of you who are subscribing at higher than the minimum level anywhere. But any type of subscription benefits me, and I appreciate that so much. There's more information about all of the options on my website, cleanwithmepodcast.com. And of course, I'll link that in the description below. But even just listening to these free episodes helps me. I realize not everyone's able to subscribe. And a way that you can support the show without spending any money is by clicking on that 5th star to give this show an excellent rating on whichever podcast app you listen on. I realize you may not even be on Apple or Spotify. You might be on another app. If you do happen to be listening on Spotify, please listen to this show in video mode, even when you aren't looking at your phone, tablet, or computer, since video mode helps me out as well. Please don't have me down at the bottom. Obviously don't stare at the screen. I want you to be cleaning. Anyway, another thing you might want to do is take inventory to make sure you have everything you need for your coffee or other morning beverage or breakfast on the go. Maybe you make a smoothie and any lunches you'll need to pack. For me, I need to make sure I have sandwich stuff for one of my kids who brings a sandwich plus, a few snacks to put in there with it. And I like to have at least one tumbler clean. Okay. And you might be thinking, well, we just did the dishes. Yes, but sometimes you might leave a tumbler in your tote bag somewhere else in the house if that's your system. So you want to make sure that gets washed. Okay. And if you're like me, you don't love going to the store at night, but taking inventory as far as the lunch and breakfast stuff will allow you to make plans to leave early and pick something up in the morning if you're out of something. You could also get a head start on tomorrow's dinner right now, whether you're going anywhere tomorrow or not, by moving some meat from the freezer to the fridge to start that thawing process. Another thing you might want to do is check to make sure the keys and maybe your work lanyard, if you have one, are in the key basket by the front door, or whatever your launch pad system is. Maybe you have a key rack. You could even start packing your tote bag. Maybe you bring a laptop somewhere. I just got a large laptop that has a 17-inch screen, and then realized it did not fit in my tote that has a padded laptop compartment. So instead of getting some really expensive tote bag that does all the things, since I already have a lot of bags, I just ordered a cheap sleeve, a little cover case, if you will, for my laptop so that I can put it in one of my existing large tote bags that's not a laptop bag. Okay, so that I would typically put that laptop bag or tote bag, if you will, on the piano bench either in the morning or the night before so that I can start placing things in there as I'm getting ready. And by doing that, it reminds me to wash any tumbler or other container that I might have left in there. You could also put your toddler's shoes by the front door if they tend to carry them off, and leave them in random places to get ready for the next morning. Whenever I'm babysitting kids, lately it's my grandkids, but I used to run a daycare, I would line up their shoes by the front door and put their jackets near the front door so that I can get them ready in a hurry when the time comes. Well, it's probably time for you to relax with your family or get ready for bed, so I'll go ahead and end this episode here. By the way, the next bonus episode, I think I already mentioned this, but it's going to be about laundry, dressers, and closets, and I'll be releasing it soon. So please stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate each and every one of you. Have a great night if you're listening to this at night, but I know some of you listen to these episodes at all times of day. There's no right or wrong way to listen to this show and use this show. As always, happy cleaning. I'll talk to you in the next episode.
This Valentine's Day, the UPS Store certified packing experts are helping pack and ship all the ways we care. From the lovey-dovey XOXO gifts, gifts for your Galentine's gal pal, even pet gifts for doggy dearest. When you ship UPS Air at the UPS Store, your items arrive on time or your money back, guaranteed at no extra cost, exclusively at the UPS Store U.S. retail locations. Send your Valentine's on time at the UPS Store. Visit theupsstore.com/air guarantee for full details. Terms and conditions apply.